can tell us if we're live. Good. Anyway, hey everybody, I'm Vanessa Joy, wedding and portrait photographer in the New York and New Jersey area. And I'm doing a holiday guide about gifts that you can give photographers. And I thought, why not bring this super boring person along with me? And his name is Jared Polin. Do you want to say hey?
Hi.
Oh, hold on.
You said I was super boring. I'm not super boring.
I did. No, you're not. That was Jersey sarcasm, which I don't think you guys have in Philly. Do you have that there? Sarcasm?
No, we just got shut the... What are you talking about? Like, get out of here.
All right. So I have to say, I don't know if you feel this way, but when it comes to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, I cannot stand doing Cyber Monday deals and Black Friday deals. Like I feel like such a freaking shill. Like, here's all my stuff in the 700 emails you already got this minute about it.
You are, but you know, you're not. No, so you're right about that. And I do this every year. I'm like, guess what? It's Black Friday a week early. It's Black Friday. It's extended Black Friday. It's now Cyber Monday. It's now extended Cyber Monday. It's now Black Friday in July. Like,
they do that. Christmas in July. Yeah. I hate it.
But so for me, I like to run sales when other people aren't running sales. I like to pick a day in January. My birthday's in January, so I do a sale at my birthday. And every year, the percentage gets even higher because I get older. So
is that what you do? It's whatever year you are, what's your percentage off?
When I turned 30, I sold 3 shirts for $30 and I sold a lot of them. I remember that, but that was like 2010.
Okay. That was a long time ago, Jared. You're 40.
Not yet.
Almost.
No.
Anyway, I thought something would be fun to do. One, going live, since we don't usually go live. You never go live on your YouTube channel, ever.
Used to. We used to go live every week. We used to do Raw Talk. We went live all the time. We did live, I think, better than other people did live because we had a live stream HD 550 box. I mean, this is like a $10,000 box. I bought it used. I paid like $7,500 for it, and it allowed us to run 5 cameras or 6 cameras, and we had a switcher. Dan would do the switching, and we'd have all the mics, and we'd go live. But live made things easier, but it also made it less polished. And polished when we did Raw Talk was better because it could take out the pauses that shouldn't be there that make it boring. And I just think a lot of what people do today live is all this talking bullshit, and it's just boring as hell. There's no. And so when we did live, we also would we would run content. So we would, kind of, and then we turned it, Photo News Fix is what killed Raw Talk, and it's what made you get your top ranked video on your channel.
Yeah. Well, we all got to do what works for us, right?
Sure.
I don't know. I think live is good. The chat is good. Hey, Jesse, love you too. Hey, Ronald. Hey, Brad. How are you? There's something to live though, especially when you're live shooting. I think it's good for learning. Anyway, my very first thing that is on the holiday list, by the way, until you get pissed off, you have to keep your cool like a real photographer. So it's a trait. Yeah. You learn it.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, the first item on the list, I actually don't have with me because I don't have this item anymore.
Baby Jesus?
So no, my baby Jesus is inside. It's a mug. You ever have a lens mug? I used to have a Canon 70-200 mug and a Canon 28-70 mug, and I used them so much. I love them. Use them so much that they got broken down, and now I don't have any more. Do you use?
Well, I don't drink coffee.
Your mic on?
I don't use coffee.
Tea though, right?
No, I don't even drink tea. I drink water all day, every day, and that's about it. That's it. Man. Like I don't drink sodas. I don't like alcohol. I just drink water. I barely have tea. Like there's no reason to have tea for me.
Is this the part where you tell us you're better than all of us?
No, I just don't like coffee. I don't smoke cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette. I don't like weed. I tried. It just fucks with my head too much, and I don't like it. So it just makes me feel like I'm dumb the next day. Like, I don't like feeling
Wise
dumb.
decision.
So,
well, plus you got a lot of
some
work to
people
do. You got a lot of work to do, right?
Yeah, maybe it
Anyway,
would help me
I
focus
enjoy
more.
mugs. You can get Canon mugs and Sony mugs and Nikon mugs. I have a link in the description for all the.
What about Pentax mugs?
I have not seen any Pentax mugs. Have you?
No.
And I'm talking about not like a mug with Pentax on it. I'm talking about like a mug that is a Pentax lens and it looks like a lens. Yeah, those are better. Anyway, my second item, this is the best thing ever. This is, I want to know how many wedding photographers are here. Who's being a dick right now? Someone's being a dick right now. I don't know. Somebody said they are, but we're just going to hit hide. By the way, before I get into this one and people being dicks, if you guys are dicks in the chat, we do have my husband Rob moderating the chat. Obviously, opinions are welcome, but you know, it's just.
You know,
I have to
it's
say,
an
like,
thing. You don't have to say it, because if you say it,
you don't
you're
have to
asking
say
for it. Nah,
well,
it.
maybe I am
People
asking
want to be
for it.
assholes in the chat. That's fine. I don't care. Just ignore them. It doesn't
You
matter.
don't care?
It's just like when people leave
Okay.
comments. No, we need to not focus on the couple of
people.
assholes when there's not always assholes. So you just don't worry about it.
Well, it's a little hard to do that. Don't you
just
always
ignore it.
focus on the negative comment? You can get 100 good comments for that one negative one, like won't let you sleep at night.
No, I sleep fine, but it pisses me off, but I take care of it. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. You take care of it.
So take that.
All right. So this, by the way, this is a schedule holder. So I, at weddings, always have some kind of schedule, and it's usually on paper. And I've been at weddings where it like flies away. So I have this schedule holder. That is awesome. Holds your piece of paper via magnet and keeps everything nice and professional looking like that. So this is one of my favorite toys as a working photographer, having a schedule holder. And now I don't look like somebody with just a bunch of random paper around. Ross is just here for the awkwardness.
Weddings.
Hey, Patty, how are you? Hey, you used to be a wedding photographer.
I shot weddings. I wouldn't call myself a wedding photographer. I would do, I don't know, 10 in a year or something. I never made that much money when I lived at home. I just, you know, for weddings for me, I would have people ask and they're like, I'm getting married in 2.5, 3 years. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to be. I turned down so many weddings because I didn't want to do that. The day of the weddings were fine. Well, it's not even commit. I have committal issues anyway, but in general, that exacerbated it. But I didn't mind shooting the weddings the day of. Like if somebody called me and they said, hey, my wedding photographer backed out. I'm getting married tomorrow. Can you do it? I'd be like, yeah, awesome. Like perfect. I'm there. But the 2 years in advance thing, and then the bullshit that you have to deal with after the fact that they never, ever, it takes a year to get the album done if you do an album, which then led me to just do shoot and dump type of stuff. It was like, yeah, it's going to be $3,500.
Which you don't make any money at. Yeah.
You
don't make any money at that at all.
I made plenty of money doing it. I was happy. I was like, yeah, I'm going to charge you an extra $500 for all the files at the time. I would make like $3,000 on the day.
Do we want to get into how $3,000 on a wedding day is not enough money?
15 years ago.
Okay, maybe 50. Yeah, no, okay, 15 years ago, sure.
I'm talking like 2006, 2004, 5, 6, 7, and I was charging $3,500 a wedding, and sometimes it would be more.
For then.
It all depended on what it was. But yeah, no, I knew I would sell extra albums, $800 to $1,200 for an album, but I get lazy, and I'm not lazy. The least thing I'm lazy is I'm lazy, I'm not lazy. But what I mean by that is like, I don't feel like dealing with bullshit. That's why with the YouTube stuff and selling digital products, it's like you make it and you continually sell it when you feed the beast. You don't have to do a one-off wedding and then fight to get every dollar. And so it's just, people say that work smarter, not harder. And I don't agree with that either. I believe in, why don't you work harder and work fucking smarter? And it's going to pay off even more than just all of that shit. Because that's the whole passive income. People think passive income is actually a thing. When you get the 4-hour work week, remember back in the day, 4-hour work week, it was like,
Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, Tim Ferriss's book that launched the shit out of him. And it was like, yeah, and people were like, yeah, 4-hour work week. I'm going to learn everything and I'm only going to work 4 hours and make a shit ton of money. It's like, yeah, but what about the 4,000 hours that Tim had to put in preparation to get everything ready?
Yeah.
So it's just
and I think people don't respect that. Like they look at you as, you know, a YouTuber and are like, oh, you just make videos and oh, that's so easy. But they don't realize it's about feeding the beast. It's never about the stupid presets you make or the video things. Seriously? Seriously?
I was feeding the beast. That's what I'm talking about. Well, let me
it's
comment.
So much freaking work. So much work.
Yeah, I mean, day one, when I started in my dad's backyard, living at home at 29, it was all day, every day. Everything I did, I didn't know how to edit video. My camera shot 5 minutes, and I would just get up, come up with an idea, film it, put an intro and an outro on because I didn't know how to edit. Then I would post it, go to lunch, come back, make another video. I was doing 2 videos a day for like 5 months until that was too much. And then I just stuck to 1 video a day for the next 6 years. Yeah, but so there weren't many people around doing what I was doing, and the ones that were doing it at the time were boring as hell. They were just flat boring, and I did the exact opposite. You know, I wasn't super technical, but I taught Mr. Rogers style. The Kermit the Frog videos, the ones where I'd be in my backyard laying on the ground, teaching basics of fundamentals and apertures and stuff like that. And it's a lot of work. It was a lot of work from day one.
It is a lot of work. All right, I'm pulling up the next gift. Good gift for a photographer. Every photographer can use one of these, a reflector. They're cheap. This is like a $30 reflector. This is a Glow 5-in-1, so pretty useful, 42-inch, the one that I have. You use reflectors on set, Jared?
Well, do I use my reflectors on set? No, I have a white, watch this. Like, I've got a white screen up when I sit here because when I do this, you see how my face gets dark. So basically, that's like a white reflector coming off the screen. But I have to I have to get the TV to go behind the camera. Steven usually sets it up, but Steven's at home editing, so that I could have the TV behind here so I could see everything.
You don't use reflectors, you only use video lights?
We don't use any reflectors at all anymore.
Huh, interesting.
I think
as a photographer, it's one of the best, cheapest things that you can buy that will do the most for your photography.
Well, I used a reflector, the 5-in-1 back in the day. It was always in my bag because obviously bouncing light back into somebody's face from here when the light was up there under the tree, it was really nice.
Definitely. Jack, these are holiday gifts. This includes Christmas and Hanukkah. Have I been saying Christmas? I don't think I've been saying Christmas. Hanukkah. All right, this is one of my favorites. This won't work for you because you don't like hot beverages, but for this Hanukkah, right here.
I suggest for Hanukkah that you get a Manny the menorah. What is that? A Yoda, a baby. It's not even Baby Yoda.
I know.
Baby Yoda. No spoilers.
It is Baby Yoda. It is. Don't talk about that. People get angry. This is a mug warmer I have on my desk, and you put your mug on it, and it keeps it hot.
Well, it's not Baby Yoda.
We don't talk about that. Don't even say his name. Don't say it. Don't say it. Somebody with the name Snap had wrote something, and then I did not see what they said, but it made me remember you wanted to talk about Snapper.
Yeah,
Snapper,
I emailed
that's what
them.
It's called, right?
I think it was called Snapper, the website where you could sign up and they'll send you photo gigs, and then they never got back to me. I wanted to do a whole thing on what they pay photographers, because I emailed them as a prospective photographer, and they sent me the pamphlet, and at the bottom it's like, you cannot disseminate this information, blah blah blah, or we'll sue you.
So for everyone who doesn't know, by the way, there's Snapper is what they say is Uber for photographers. So you go on an app, you find a photographer that's available for your shoot, and pay minimal money for it.
You can pay good money. Like you can pay, I mean, if it's like 12 hours, it's like $2,000, but they're taking 40 some percent if you edit the images or something, and they'll take even more of a percentage if they have to edit the images and they want it done uniformly. Look, it's a really bad idea. I looked through the photos, the photographers in the area. I looked at the photos. The majority of the photos are not very good. They're beginner photographers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You have to start somewhere, but the photos are just, for the majority of the people that I saw in the Philly area, were not good. There was like one that was like a full-time photographer. What?
But doesn't there always need to be like the Payless shoe source of photographers, like places where people start? And you know, is it going to kill? Wrong with that. Is it going to kill the industry? Do you think, or it's what do you?
No, it will never kill the industry because it will never take off. Because the people that are going, you know, there's a difference between price shopping. Like, you know this with weddings. Hi, I love your work. What's your package, or how much are you? Or they don't even say I love your work. Like, where does it start? And it's like, hello, did you look at the work? Like, I'm not just going to throw pricing at you because you clearly are just kicking tires. And so there's people that want the $1,000 wedding. And by the way, the people that want the $1,000 wedding, I'll just go out on a limb here and say that in my experience, not to generalize everything, that the cheaper weddings are the worst weddings, and the more expensive weddings have been better in my experience.
I have to say, as I raise my prices throughout the years, I don't know, I think like 18, 20 years or something, I've been doing weddings. The more I charge, the nicer and better looking, the nicer and better looking, prettier my clients got.
Whoa,
I have to say that.
Whoa, Vanessa, prettier?
What?
Oh my God.
It's true.
It's true. So.
Yeah.
You ever hit on a bridesmaid?
No, I have not hit on a bridesmaid. I've had groomsmen hit on me before, though.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Take your pic. You want to take my picture?
It did not work. I have to say, I think that's the most annoying thing I ever get asked at a wedding. Hey, who's taking your picture? Okay, dude.
I've never been asked that before.
Well, we all know why. It's okay.
Why, Vanessa?
Well, I don't know, because nobody wants to take a picture of you with your, muscles.
I'm sure there's plenty of men that want to take pictures of my muscles.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, talking about weddings, this is one of my other recommended gifts. This is the Canon selfie. It's because you're not getting, paid by Canon. It's the Sony truck that comes up to the back of your
Is that Z ink? Is that Z ink? Does that use Z ink?
No, these actually are like selfies, or selfies are like Polaroids. So I'm pretty sure the ink is built into the paper.
Yeah, I hate those.
You don't hate these. I love these. I print these on the job at weddings and give these to my clients.
If they're Z ink, I hate them. I'm taking my headset out because I have to go get something. And I need to grab like my microphone, and I need to just come over here.
No, it's not Z ink.
And I need
I'm pretty
to
sure
sit back
it's
down.
in the paper. I actually haven't opened this one yet. This is a new one. I used to have the Ivy.
This one. This is my earpiece. So I'll just explain why I hate the Z ink. What?
What is that? What do you have?
Oh, this is a Fuji. This is Fuji Instax Mini 11. But Fuji also makes a Instax printer.
I used to use the Instax.
Well, they make an Instax printer too that prints. It's not Z ink. I have bad experiences with Z ink. I just think the quality is pretty bad because it's multiple layers, and what it does is it like burns off those other layers, and you could actually scratch off of it. It's still a good thing to give people quickly at an event. I don't know.
It is quickly at an event. It's not meant.
Canon hasn't sent me one of those yet, but I'm not a big fan of Z ink, and most of it actually. Let me just.
Jared, you can buy your own gear. I'm just saying you don't have to wait for someone to send it to you.
Not if I don't want it. But I will say that my experience with most of the Z ink stuff came from those shitty knockoff Polaroid ones, and those things were just terrible.
Well, that's what they are, but they're a novelty. They're meant to be fun. I'm not going to sell that to my client. I'm giving it to them to meet that instant gratification. It's not going to take the place of like my awesome 12 by 12 albums.
Jared is not kind of rude. Jared is not kind of rude, Jesse. Jared is not
Jared
kind of rude.
is totally rude. Would you see?
No, I didn't see.
Joe said, here's a gift, Vanessa, here's a gift idea. Jared, I hate it. That's pretty much how conversations between Jared and I go. And I love.
Well, hey, Howard, that's Howard Yarmish. He's been following for 11 years. 11.
T-bone, they can't be destroyed. I haven't actually dropped one yet. I don't know. Jared and I couldn't be more polar opposites. I think there's more that we disagree on versus stuff that we agree on. But you know, it's fun. Though. It's fun to fight. Bull crap. How many times have you literally said "F you" to me in the past 3 months?
I never say "F you" to you ever.
Oh, bull crap. I can pull it up right now. Please hold. Actually, no. You know what I will pull up? I'll be nice. You know what I'll pull up? I'm going to pull up you serenading me on my answering machine with your... And the best part about this is in the middle of it, you just scream.
Well, that's me. I was practicing piano this morning.
Serenading me on my your scales.
Oh, I had a question you just didn't answer, so I figured I'd keep.
What was your question?
I don't remember at this point.
You
want to hear my piano playing?
No, I really don't.
That was probably what I was going to ask. All right, what's the next topic?
Well, the next one you're going to hate also. As a matter of fact, I think I just picked all things that you don't like. Maybe have been subliminal on purpose. So what is the, somebody is like a beginner photographer and they ask you what camera should I get? What should I start out with? Or it's a mom that just wants to take better pictures of their kids. What do you say?
Well, it depends who's backing the money truck up this week, and that will depend upon my answer. That's what the haters in the comments would say. I think, so I got keys in my pocket. I'm going to take them out. I think that some of the best beginner cameras are like a Nikon D3500, a Nikon D3400. Those old school Nikon D70 was such an awesome learning camera. But some of those basic beginners, the Rebels, but we're talking Costco cheap. We're talking $299, $399 cameras that people discover to learn photography. I think those are great to get people started on a budget. If I was talking mirrorless, I think the Nikon Z50 is still my favorite crop sensor mirrorless camera because it takes the Z mount lenses, it adapts all of the other lenses from Nikon, and it's just a nice compact feeling, nice body. So for as much as people say I hate on Nikon, they can fuck off because the Z50, I always say, is one of my favorite crop sensor cameras. Now you can go promote what you're getting paid to promote.
I'm not getting paid to promote this. That's what the ridiculous part is. And I will gladly not promote other things that I don't like. Like I would not tell somebody right now, it's the first camera. I would not say, go get a Rebel anymore. I would say, get this camera, which is the Canon M50 Mark II. And the lens that I have on it, the 32 1.4.
It just depends on the price.
Is it's so easy to use this camera. It doesn't take that much more, assuming you're starting on like, let me pull it up exactly because I definitely don't remember what the Canon M50.
So my whole thing with the M50, when they sent me the M50 back in the day, I took it to Paris as my vlogging camera.
So the M50 is $459 and the M50 with the Mark II is $699 right now. So it's definitely more. What's the Z50?
It's probably like $849. It's overpriced.
Okay. And that was, this is with the kit lens, not this lens right here.
Yeah. My thing is I bought the 11 to 24 zoom or whatever it was, the 11 to 24. I bought that one, even though they never sent it to me. So I bought it and I vlogged the hell out of that camera because it was so small, compact, easy to take. Though I did run into issues where the audio plug would pop out of the side, wasn't always plugged in great. But the Z50, the R50, what is it? M50 Mark I was just it wasn't very sharp. It was soft. So
yeah, okay. I never used the M50 Mark I, just the II, and the focus is like, holy crap, even at 1.4.
Well, yes, that's mirrorless technology. My problem, and I'm just going to say it, regardless of you being an explorer of light, is that it's a dead system. So I don't want to recommend somebody investing in a dead system. They haven't said it yet, but it's a dead system.
I don't know. They don't tell me roadmap or anything like that. But regardless, it depends on who you're recommending it to. If you're recommending a camera to somebody who's like, I want to get started in photography, and you know they're going to have a career out of it, no, that's not the camera. But if I have a mom that comes up to me and says, I just want to pick a camera that I'm going to take good pictures of my kids, I'm going to recommend that camera to her because it's easy, and she's not going to upgrade her camera for another 10 to 15 years anyway, if she even does, he or she.
Or if it even lasts that long, but that's any camera, not just Nikon, Canon.
Right, no, that's any camera.
But that's a good recommendation, but it's just a matter, my thing with anybody, whether they're a beginner or not, is glass, 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 glass. The quicker you can get to good glass, the better off you'll be, and you'll thank me. People just don't understand at the beginning, you spend $500 for a camera, and you're like, that lens is $700. Like, ah! And they're like, yeah, but that's how it is. You just can't.
And your glass stays around with you way longer than your body.
Glass. I always told people, invest in glass. Glass stays with you time and time and again. Bodies go every couple of years now. And my recommendation to anybody that's a working pro or somebody that is aspiring to be is, and you make some money, is you dump the newest you dump the body you have as soon as the newest one comes out. I know people are like, how do you afford?
Do you really? I do that.
So when I had a D3, I dumped it when the D3S came out because it's at the peak amount of money I can get out of it. Anything after that, it's going to start. Look, it was a $4,000 camera. It was like $3,600 or so in 2002 when I bought that that was a D2H. But the D3 was probably $3,400, $3,500, $3,600. And for me, when the new one comes out, I can get the maximum amount of money. Example, D4 probably paid what, $5,800 for it. And if I sold it for $4,500 2 years later, then my rental fee for that camera that made me a lot of money was like $1,200 to $1,500. So that's like $750 a year. Then I could roll that money right into a new body, meaning it only cost me $1,500 to get a new body.
But what about backup? Like the way I always upgrade is I get like the new one and then I sell the oldest of the oldest and then the one that, say 1DX Mark III. I still have my 1DX Mark II as my backup and sold my 1DX.
Yeah, never.
What do you do for backup? Or do you just get two of the same camera? You've never had backup?
Never ever would I recommend you get two of the same camera. No, I never had a backup when I shot those weddings because I used Nikon.
Are you serious? Oh my God. How do you sleep at night if not, you don't have backup?
I had a second shooter was my backup.
But what if theirs went down?
Yeah, no, that of course I started to carry around something else along the way, but I never recommend people buy two of the same cameras. If you're going to buy two $5,000 cameras, you just spent 10 grand. By the time you sell them, you lost more than 6 grand. The reason I recommend that you get the latest, not everybody, but if you're making money with the stuff, I want the latest body. Because as a full-time as a full-time professional who makes these videos.
Really?
Yeah, really.
So you're saying you're a professional YouTuber, not a professional photographer?
Hey, I make money. That's what I care about. And I shoot what I want when I want. Let me finish before you.
This is live. Somebody should screen cap this before Jared makes me delete it.
I'm not going to make you delete it, but where was I going before you rudely
you totally
interrupted?
Lost your thought.
Well, yeah, because I'm trying to.
You were telling pro photographers how to be pro photographers, and then admitted you're not a pro photographer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would not buy two of the same. I would take whatever gear you get, and as somebody who makes money at it, because I make money through YouTube, and now I get camera companies send me long-term loaners, so it's a different ball game for me. But yeah, and I sold like $10,000 worth of Nikon gear last year because I'm done using the F-mount glass. I did keep some of the lenses. But if you're working and you're making money at it, you dump you keep the lenses, but you dump the body as soon as the new one comes out because it's very hard. It was very difficult to spend $6,000 on a new body, $5,000 on a new body every, for me, it just
let me just for the photographers, and I'm curious how many people do not carry backup gear in the chat, but another option, maybe if you have like your main camera system, let's just say, for example, I've always used the 1DX Mark III. Maybe my backup is just a 5D4 or a 5D3 that I don't have to update all the time. I've always just done the thing where I upgrade the backup and and the main camera at once.
So I just remember, because I'm going to take you back to when I was starting. The first Nikon I bought was a N90S with an 80 to 200 2.8. It was the only kit I had, and that was shooting sports. And it was hammered home to me to buy good glass early on, because I always knew that good glass will maintain its value. So when the 80 to 200 gets replaced by something else, you can still sell that 80. Say I paid $1,400 or whatever the lens was at the time. And so you sell it for $900 to $1,000 and you roll it, or you trade it in, you roll that money right into the new lens. It's just, it was the way that I could grow my gear without having to start fresh every time. So that's why it made sense. Look, I'm just overthinking a lot of it, but this was more in the days when I started to make money as a photographer. When I was in my D2H era, I didn't replace the D2H with a D2HS, and I didn't get a D2X or a D2XS until Allen's got them in used, and it was much less expensive for me to get it. But when the D3 came along, I got the D3. D3S came along, got the D3S, sold the D3. Sold the D3S, got the D4, sold the D4, got the D4S. Got $4,500 for a D4. And I roll that money right into a D, so I didn't have to spend $6,000. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, well, you obviously have to play this game with your gear where you're selling and buying, and there's certainly nothing wrong with getting used equipment, by the way.
No,
Speaking of equipment, though, I want to answer this question because T-Bone was very nice to super chat it to us. He wants to know if if the RP can focus as well as the R6 after the firmware update.
There's no way, and I can't verify that, but there's no way in hell.
Because the tech just isn't there, regardless of any firmware update.
It doesn't have the processing power, but I will tell you that. Did he say RP?
RP, yeah.
Yeah, that camera so Canon took us to New Orleans for that, and that camera is fantastic for what it is. It was overpriced at the time. It just should have been a sub $1,000 full frame camera because it's just a really cool, easy to use camera, takes RF lenses. And when it came out, the only affordable lens on that was the 35 1.8 macro, because before that there was nothing inexpensive for RF. There really still isn't much inexpensive for RF.
Regardless, it's not going to have the RP, you mean, or the RF? What body?
What's the question?
Well, the second question was, this was actually kind of funny to me. Why can we get a free 24 to 105 lens with the RP, but not with the R6? It's just business. That's all that is. Well, people do bundles, so they throw things in, and by they, I really mean camera stores. They're not going to throw a free lens or a bundled lens in usually. That's any less expensive with a brand new camera. They're still selling it full price.
But plus the R6 is so new and it's a popular camera, they don't need to discount it.
Right. And then he also wants to know, do you know anything about the R7, which is news to me?
No. We don't find out. Like, I find out more stuff before Vanessa does generally, but
yeah, you do.
But we don't really find stuff out until right before, and generally speaking,
like the week before.
The rumor sites have more information than we do.
Right or wrong.
Right. So, no, I mean, I don't think an R7. No, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Who knows exactly. I barely take my 50 millimeter off. Yeah, I love that 50. I do have to say what changed me using the 50 millimeter 1.2 so much is that this lens right here.
That you can actually get it in 70. Focus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with focus. Don't
on EF. On EF, everybody had problem with focus. I'm talking EF.
No, this is,
shooting 1.2. Shooting 1.2 with an 85 1.2 was almost impossible on an EF.
Yes.
On a camera, just like shooting 1.4 on a Nikon it was all because the focusing. You would back focus. Now with mirrorless cameras, you are focusing on the sensor, which makes it much more difficult to back.
It's night and day. There's just no comparison.
I remember somebody that I was talking to this photographer that shot weddings once, and they were telling me how much they did not like mirrorless cameras. And then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, mirrorless cameras are the greatest thing ever.
Well, it depends on when you were talking, because I once wrote an article on F-Stoppers about how mirrorless cameras weren't even professional, but that was a very long time ago when they literally weren't professional.
Well, I hated on, I hated on mirrorless for a long time. I hated on Sony forever. Oh yeah, until the A7 III came out. When the A7 III came out, that changed the history. That changed the future. That is still one of the most well-rounded, best cameras in the history of cameras ever. And that's not the money truck speaking, because Sony doesn't back a money truck up here for anybody who really thinks they do. But that was just 10 frames a second. It shot video. Autofocus is incredible. Got firmware updates for IAF. I mean, just the stuff was just incredible what those Sonys could do. Their EVFs suck and their LCDs suck, but.
Well, it's funny. Somebody in the chat is like, sorry, but Sony's the best. And ultimately, I always see people say that, Canon's the best, Nikon's the best, Sony's the best. I'm like, yeah, in the hands of who? Because that's actually what matters.
I'll shoot with whatever you put in my hands and get great results. There's pros and cons to every single system. And, I'm super duper close, was super close to thinking that Canon would be, I've never been a full-time Canon shooter except for my first camera, which was a Canon EOS Elan 2E, but that's going back to when I was 13. But in the pro era, I was just about to switch over to Canon digital in the 1D era, except Nikon came out with a full frame D3, and that changed everything. So I stuck with Nikon for a long time.
Yeah. But just the questions in the chat. Yes, this is the 70 or 28-70 f2 lens. And if I could have either this or the 50, I would definitely have this because it gets a lot more done.
Now you as a girl who works out, are you able to manage that lens? It's a heavy ass lens for anybody.
Let me think about that for a minute.
That was a joke for anybody out there. Vanessa
works out. It's funny.
Lens.
It is a heavy lens. And it's very front heavy. It does take you a second to get used to it. I use it on the R5 that does have the battery grip, and that sort of evens things out. But to me, it's either, what is it? Isometric muscle or it's movement muscle, because either I'm going to spend my muscle energy on holding something heavier, or I'm going to spend my muscle energy on constantly switching lenses because I do enjoy a lower aperture, and I'm not going to be happy shooting a wedding on a 24-105 f4. So I prefer to use my isometric muscles, if that's the way you say it, and just have that. I have been shooting engagement sessions. I only bring the 28-70 and then the 135 f2, obviously with the adapter, and that's it. And I just switch between those two.
I'm a big proponent of changing lenses a lot. I used to have 8 lenses in a bag at all times.
Oh yeah.
When I went on the road with Bernie the first time I went out, I had the Sony. So literally 3 days before I went out on the road, I took the A7 R4. That was when it came in. And I had a 35-1.2 from Sigma, 24-72 8, 12-24 f4 piece of shit from Sony, an 85, a 135, a bunch of lenses, and the 70-200. And then the second time I went on the road, I left the 70-200 home. It was just worthless because it was just too much weight to carry. And it was a lens that wasn't needed because I don't need tight shots of people. I need to show the scene and the environment. So the 135 was an awesome lens to take out. If Canon,
the 70-200 is, for me, it's a need to have lens. I'm only going to use that when the priest doesn't let me get close enough in the church and I have to stay really far away. And
I ignore that. I ignore the priest all the time.
Well, I have a reputation to keep and, a photography career to hold up.
You can't use
I
flash.
Listen to the priest.
You can't use flash. Oh, you can't molest kids, okay?
Oh my God.
Is it fair? I can't use flash. You can't molest kids. Is it even now?
I'm going to go to the chat so I stop getting all red. Here's fun. Who has more workout knowledge, Vanessa or Jared? Unless it's glutes. Jared owns in the glutes.
I own in the glutes department, man. Did you see my ass in those yoga pants yesterday?
No.
Oof.
Why?
I got yoga pants.
Why?
I put it live. Why? Because they're really comfortable.
Did they give you yoga pants?
Nah, I bought them on sale from Under Armour on Amazon. I got these Under Armour, I guess they call them leggings. And I put them on and I'm like, it's like a big hug the whole time. And so I'm going to get more yoga pants. I may switch into those. The only thing they don't have are pockets. So maybe I'll buy the women's versions because they have pockets.
All right. Yeah, they do. Some of them do.
I got to read the comments. So that was the greatest joke ever. That was hilarious. It was true.
All of my gifts that we've talked about are in the link below. And then, of course, a big gift you can always give is education. So I have both mine and Jared's education in the links below, and mine have cyber deals right now. I'm not sure if you do. Mine begrudgingly have cyber deals right now.
Look, I have sales. They're nominal, except for the one on the video guides. We're selling the FroKnowsPhoto Photo Guide to shooting video and the FroKnowsPhoto Photo Guide to video editing. Those normally, if you bought them together, would be $300. That's literally what they sell for. They're selling as a group for $99. That's there. So that's linked down below. That's the first time we've dropped that and sold it as a bundle. But I'm not a big fan of running sales. I don't want to devalue.
I know.
I'm talking about major sales where people are like 84% off. Like, fuck you. It's not 84% off. That's like, 2 weeks before Black Friday, it's $400. And then Black Friday comes along, it's $600 minus $200 to make it $400. It's like
irritating. It's annoying. And then all you're doing is creating pissed off people that bought it at a different price that was higher. And then you got to keep up with all of it. And
I'm doing my mentorship stuff, and I took $25 off the one-on-one mentorship and $10 off the rapid fire critique for a limited amount of people, because I don't want to take $100 off. Because one, I don't want to work for that little, right? Like it's a lot of time to personally do it. So, I did it for $25 off maybe somebody was saving up money and they got close to it. Because that's another thing that a lot of people don't talk about in this world as we get the internet world of what we do, is some people get pissed off that people don't buy their product or something. Like, for example, when I did the FroKnowsPhoto Photo Guide to Getting Out of Auto giveaway in honor of my mother's life was one. And then during the beginning of the pandemic, I gave it away, and there were like 30,000 that have been downloaded. And I probably generated maybe like $30,000 over the course of doing it. But it would have been like $2.6 million if they sold all at $67. But at first, when somebody I set it up as pay what you want. And sometimes people would pay like $1, and I'd be like, why'd you pay it? And then I sat back and I'm like, yeah, but then I sat there and I was like, maybe this person didn't even have $1 to spend, but they still wanted to show their appreciation by putting $1 in. And so you just have to check yourself. I have to check myself every once in a while and just think that some people can't afford it, but maybe $1 is all that they could do to show their support. And that's awesome. So that's just like, that's why sometimes when you run deals, it's very helpful, because some people may need to save up. I still have trouble asking for the sale sometimes. I love selling. I love selling, but sometimes
I hate selling. I hate anything where I have to be like, download this thing or
I'm not talking about
get on my
selling.
email. It's annoying.
I'm not talking about that selling. I'm talking about, I loved being at the camera store and selling, but I also like offering products, but I also do feel sometimes bad that somebody's like, look, I can't afford this, or, I've been struggling. But there's times when people have sent me personal emails and they say what they're going through, and I'm like, okay, here's a link. And I just do it. And
don't everyone email us.
Well, no, I cut through the bullshit, but sometimes people are like, well, how do you know they're not full of shit? I'm like, look, if they're full of shit, that's on them. If they want to lie and then the other thing is, people are like, what about somebody stealing your product? People always worry about the third party. And I'm like, so what? I'm like, maybe they downloaded it for free now, but maybe they didn't know me and they became a fan and they'll buy something in the future. But if they stole it and they weren't going to buy it anyway. All right. And I don't worry about the bootleg shit anymore, because it's really not prevalent.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah, so I'm all out of holiday gift things. And since you hated every single one of my gift ideas, what are yours? What should someone get you?
I hate gifts.
For you hate gifts?
No, I like thoughtful things done at a time.
I got you socks once.
Yeah, they were very, see, that was a very thoughtful thing. I've never had knipples on the bottom of my socks before. Like,
They're great.
that was a new feeling for me. They were ribbed. So I'd never experienced that. But what I mean by, like, I like doing thoughtful gifts for people whenever I think of giving them a gift. Not because it's the holidays. I think it's bullshit that everybody rushes out like, I need to buy gifts for everybody. That's just me being a Jew. Like, I never felt like everybody rushing out for Christmas. Like, they made this big deal, like, go spend all of this money to give people gifts. Did Jesus die on the cross for you?
Wrong holiday.
Go shopping? I don't know anything. I mean, all I know is Jesus was Jewish and he had hair like this. Okay.
And that is your only two similarities between you and Jesus.
Yeah, so the gifts I like to give, though, are thoughtful things. So when people get married, I don't buy wedding cards, right? I don't buy cards. I draw stick figures on paper. So it's like, I'll draw a stick figure of both of them, and then they have a dog, I'll draw a stick figure. Then I'll put balloons in there, like a thought bubble, and I'll write some thoughts like, we are so happy and in love. And then I'll staple a fucking $100 plus bill, $100 bill in there or something. And then people are like, $100 isn't enough to give at a wedding anymore. And I'm like,
it's actually
what
not.
are you talking about $100? Well, so,
you're supposed to pay for your plate. That's
fucking bullshit. Hey, Dan, can you turn off the heat real fast so I don't get the noise, please?
I was going to say, so you don't start sweating while you argue about the price.
No. So this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Dan had the best wedding ever. All right, Dan, how much did I give you for your wedding? $400 in print credits. I gave him $400.
You did not.
I did give him $400 in print credits. That's a good gift.
Print credit to where?
Adorama Pics, of course.
It's an okay
and a
gift.
job. And a job.
Okay.
But let me just tell you something.
My Jay got married. I paid for some of her wedding dress, put money aside for her retirement fund, and photographed her micro wedding.
Well, how about Dan's wedding photographer didn't show up.
Are you serious?
So I had to grab a camera I've never used before from his friend who told the worst groomsman speech or whatever, best man speech ever. But he had like a 6D. I've never used, it was a Canon at the time. I didn't really know how to use it, but I grabbed it and used it. And the funny thing is I called one of my friends before going. I'm like, should I bring my camera bag just in case? And they're like, well, no, you should leave it at home. You're a guest. And I knew I should have taken it. I actually had a DxO1 from DxO, that shitty thing that attached. And that's what I shot his wedding on. And those photos are actually pretty good because his wedding photographer didn't show up.
Now he needs that print credit because he's not getting it. His wedding photographer just flat out didn't show up?
Yeah, they didn't show up.
Where's the rest of the story? Did they die on the way there? Because that's literally the only way I would not show up to a wedding. I died on the way there.
He doesn't want to share that information right now.
Okay, well, who was it?
I don't know who it was. But what I was saying about the whole plate thing, why should I have to pay? You're inviting me to your fucking wedding. Why should I have to? I don't know how much the plate is. If you want to, why don't you send a card when you're saying how much to give a gift? Why don't you tell me your plate cost $112. Okay, then you want $112 fucking dollars for me to join your party? That's bullshit. You're getting married. I shouldn't get, I think $100 a person is good enough. I'm not covering my own plate because generally the food fucking sucks. Okay, the food is usually terrible at weddings because it's just so bad. I always get the fish or the chicken because the meat always sucks.
You never eat the main course. The main course is always horrible no matter where you go. You always have to eat cocktail hour.
I love cocktail hour.
Yeah, that's the only good food, and dessert sometimes, if they have more than just a cake.
I love cake. But no, the best wedding food I ever ate so happened to be a caterer who got married. They had stations set up. There was the pasta, there was the seafood, there was the salad, there was the meat. And it was as soon as the doors opened, the food was ready to go. What was that?
I said I didn't eat lunch. You can't tell me this right now.
It's $3.50. How did you not eat lunch? I had two salmon lunch.
You were whining about having to test this out early, and that was my lunchtime. And then I had to do other things. I actually missed somebody's call because you had to like test the Zoom.
You missed my call. All right. What else? How do you want to wrap? How do you want to? Oh, we got more people now on that than I miss doing live because I say
that's because we just
that,
started yelling at each other.
Well,
so I stayed around.
You know, but it. Yes, I am so right on this topic. Says workism says I'm right on this topic, but it's true. You shouldn't be paying for the plate.
Well, I'm not saying it's what you should do. I'm simply saying that's what like wedding etiquette says. Just like wedding etiquette says that you have a year to send out your thank you cards from the time of your wedding. However, you usually send them out.
You know what, Vanessa? You know what I just thought of? You know what's gift enough? Me showing up to your wedding. That's gift enough. That's the gift that is worth $1 million.
I don't know. I don't think I would have wanted you at my wedding.
I'm not very good at
You would
weddings.
have like stolen the attention. You would have like made the dance circle form around you on the dance floor.
It's not true.
Insulted my photographers.
I would have definitely taken my shirt off, but this
is what I mean. This is what I mean.
But you know who would have liked me taking my shirt off secretly? The priest off to the side.
No, I didn't have a priest. Oh, workism's really happy you called this comment out. How long have we known each other? Do you want to tell the story about how we met?
You tell the story. I'll see if it's the same story I think it is.
Well, we were on a panel together for Adorama.
That wasn't how we met. That's not how we met.
That's how we first started. We were introduced to each other, but that's how we first started.
We met at a Canon event in New York for the release of the
5D Mark IV launch. Yes.
Yeah, and I was giving you advice on how to start selling product online.
You were. That's right. I don't remember what you said.
I said you need to start selling fucking product online if you want to make real money and stop being a photographer. Who wants to be that?
Oh, see, and therein lies part 2, is we were on that panel together and I accused you of not being a pro photographer.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell your story.
That's it. That's what it was. I told you shouldn't give business advice to photographers because you weren't a photographer.
Well, first off, I generally don't give business advice to photographers. I give business advice for business, for generating revenue, for marketing, branding, advertising. And I never was a successful, I will say, photographer in the words of getting paid a lot of money. But in the types of jobs I was doing, whether it was Rolling Stone or other freelancing for Rolling Stone, I hate those people who are like, I shoot for Rolling Stone. I never said I shoot for Rolling Stone. I freelance for Rolling Stone because I want that to be totally transparent. And the most money I ever made freelancing was like $400 on one shoot. So it wasn't like it was amazing. So I had some success with shooting the flyers and shooting that types of stuff, but I never made a shit ton of money as a photographer after college through 10 years of struggling before FroKnowsPhoto started. And my goal with FroKnowsPhoto starting was to put out videos showcasing my work in the hopes that I would get paid money to do jobs, that people would see it and I would get jobs. And that didn't happen. What happened is people started—
the two don't connect.
People started asking, well, it does. Peter McKinnon gets a lot of gigs from other companies now. It happens for a lot of people now. Like the video people go and make that stuff. And we get, we as a team make stuff. This is what I love doing this. I love the business, the branding, the marketing, the advertising. You telling me that I'm not a real photographer is like, oh, great. Thank you. Well, it's subjective. It's subjective because you consider yourself to be a real photographer because you were shooting weddings until that industry died. And you were lucky enough to have this online thing that you really cultivated. So, it is a lucrative thing, potentially, what we do. If you love shooting weddings and you want to continue doing them, by all means, continue doing them. My goal in life was never to continue to be a wedding photographer, but the money I made shooting weddings allowed me to make FroKnowsPhoto become in existence.
And the truth is, and what you had said to me at the time was, and how I kind of rectified it at that moment is, you're a photographer, but you're not a B2C, business to consumer. Consumers are not hiring you. You're a B2B photographer where a business is hiring you to do something. And the interesting thing that you said to me that kind of made me shut up a little bit at the moment was that, okay, I'm going to tell you this for the first time, was that you said, no, I don't have to take jobs that I don't want to shoot. I just get to shoot what I want to shoot. So, you know, when a new camera comes out, you don't get hired by a person to shoot a portrait with that camera. Instead, you decide whatever floats your boat, whatever you feel like shooting, and then you get to go shoot it to make the video for that camera. And that was definitely interesting to me, because there are definitely some shoots that I do not want to go shoot.
Well, that's part of it. One, I don't like working for people. I never did, like, because I don't like working for people who start questioning everything that you're doing as if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And so when somebody's paying you, you feel like obligated to be nice to them when they're assholes. And I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna, be.
I feel obligated to be nice to everyone, even when they are assholes, which is probably why we're still friends.
Sometimes you got to put people in their place. Sometimes people put me in my place when it's needed, because sometimes I'll go too far on certain things, and then because sometimes I just don't realize it. I don't know why. I just don't realize certain things. And then when somebody brings it to your attention, you think back and you're like, okay, right, you're right. Like, I understand that now. But the whole point, I was on Scott Kelby's thing once, and somebody asked a question about me not being a real photographer because I make YouTube videos. And it's like, well, you know me because first I was a real photographer, and then I so happened to make YouTube videos. But the point is, I said, I think it's the goal of every photographer to be able to be in a position to shoot what they want to shoot when they want to shoot it, and not have to take gigs from someone else. And that's the point.
Definitely
I can choose who I want to shoot. I can shoot if there's a subject that can't afford it, but I want to photograph them because I can make content out of it, or I just want to shoot it just because, I make a call and I do it. If I want to work with a musician pre-pandemic, it's like I make a call because not more so, I find them on Instagram and I make connections and I reach out, and my work now speaks for itself with what I've done. And the funny thing is, my 6 Degrees project, I've made money, even though I pay to do everything, and I give them the images and I pay for all my travel. I've gotten covers of books out of it. People have paid me to use photos in books. It's just, it's insane what happens.
It's different. It's a different way of making money with your photography, but people hate on it like crazy. I also think it's because they don't see the amount of work that happens on the back end. Like, you've been in your office on holidays, you work all hours of the night sometimes, as do I, because this whole YouTube thing does not just blow up itself. You have to put so much freaking work behind it with the marketing and the links and the stupid affiliate links that make you absolutely $0, and the relationships and everything. It's so much.
It is. I'm just checking my
I wish
sale.
Vanessa would hit her up in Queens, New York, and slap some sense in her. What?
He's talking about his fiance. He said he wished his fiance. It's a really bad comment, actually.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Oh, okay. Awkward.
Yeah.
All right. So on that awkward note.
So yeah, I should go live on my channel every once in a while.
You should.
Again.
You should, because it lets people
see
see you. Yeah, Zoom is pretty easy for it. It lets people see you who you are, because when you record videos, you have an agenda, you got to get through it, you have to speak clearly, you have to edit, you clean it up. Somebody in the beginning of this comment, they're like, oh, Jared looks, stressed. I'm like, no, he doesn't look stressed. He's just, being. Like, we can't all just be here for a second without being like, Fro Knows Photo.
No, so... Yeah, you said you do live because it helps people know who you are. That's part of the reason why I stopped doing live on Raw Talk.
You don't want people to know who you are.
Well, no, because I make statements and I say things. I mean, I do that on my podcast. I say the shit I want to say. But on Raw Talk, it's just like I would get egged on by Todd and I would start saying stuff. And then people start thinking you're an asshole because I'm partly an asshole. But I'm very judgmental. So it's just like, that's why one of the reasons I killed it is because the perception that people have based off of how they see me live. And I mean, this is who I am. I'm opinionated. That's what I do. But some people love it and some people hate it. I want to do the live again. But the thing with Zoom, like, it's insane that I had the $7,500 box that I bought used. And now with a Cam Link or an Atomos Connect thing to your camera that's HDMI and Zoom, you're going live. You just don't have the switchers.
Or directly from the Canon M50 Mark II.
Brought to you by Canon.
Just saying, not brought to you by Canon. Shut up. Anyway.
But no, I want to go live, but I want to be able to put other things up on the screen as well. Plus, quality wise, I'm pretty sure the quality doesn't look as good. We were able to do,
because
we could do 4K.
Yeah. You could do
box.
4K from, different things. It doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is nice. You get to like talk to people. Like half the time we're just talking to a camera, and as enjoyable as that is all the time, it's nice to have people like feedback. And since we can't do live anything anymore, like in-person conferences, might as well go here.
Well, I stopped doing live also because it was kind of weird with YouTube. YouTube used to keep the live viewers as a live count and all the comments counted, and then they zero you out basically when it goes live again, and now, or when it goes back up and processed, and it's kind of weird. Yeah. You don't get, it starts back with maybe like there were 2,000 people in, so it started like 2,000, but yeah, it became an algorithm thing. Like live could potentially hurt your reach, because if not a lot of people are watching it, it could lower the amount of like it. I don't have a problem going live and then maybe killing it, but yeah, I like going live and talking to just people. I mean, we had over 2,000 people, I think, at one time that watched one of our Raw Talks live, like 2,000 concurrent, which is not.
That's awesome.
Mr. Beast has 1 million watching, but so be it.
Well, that's Mr. Beast. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this today, because we're an hour in, and I'm hungry, and actually I have to go cook dinner, so I'm not sure if I'll just wait or what I'll do. Anyway, thanks, Jared, for joining me, even though you had nothing to contribute except you hate all of my gift ideas. I appreciate that.
I didn't hate any of your gift ideas.
Down below, you know what? I'm just saying, if you wanted to give one of your photographer friends something, I personally don't have any more lens mugs, so maybe, that can be your thoughtful thing one day when it's not Christmas.
Oh, you're saying you want me to give you a gift?
No, this is your gift. Your presence today was gift enough.
Just like why I don't need to give anybody money at a wedding is because my present is my presence.
Right. Okay.
And if anybody believes I think that, it's a joke.
Yeah.
I hate that I have to preface this stuff as like, this is a joke. My thing about the flash with the priest, that wasn't a joke. That was just truth.
And you flashed the priest?
Like when I said that, no, I didn't flash the priest. He probably would have liked it. But the point I'm trying to make is I don't think God gives a shit if I'm taking photos with a flash at the time when we had to use flash in a church, but the person, grandma sitting in the front row, flashing her fucking disposable camera
or doing
is
this.
fine. So I tell the priests, you know what you tell priests? Ask for forgiveness, not permission, just like they do when they raped little boys.
Oh God, on that note,
I didn't even
deleting this stream.
That just came out naturally. I mean, that is kind of true. They asked for forgiveness. They didn't ask for permission when they did it.
Jared, I'm pretty sure religion was in the off limits topic list I sent you.
Oh, you sent me no, masks were off limits.
That's all you can remember.
Masks. I didn't think that priests were off limits. The little boys should have been off limits.
I said. Jeez. All right. No,
let's keep going. This is why we go live.
I'm gonna get so red. I get like a turnip.
This is great. I just need to see the comments here.
They're very excited, and he already has sent me a shirt. I used it in my video to make fun of him.
Robert Hyman said he didn't mention the Scouts. No, I never mentioned the Scouts. Dan was a Scout. Dan, are you a Boy Scout? Dan's an Eagle Scout. Did anybody ever try to touch you?
With the Scouts?
He said nobody tried to touch him. But the Boy Scouts of America were a racist organization. I'll just put that out there. They discriminated highly, whether it was because somebody was their sexual orientation or their race or their creed. Yes.
Jared, did your rabbi try to touch you as a child? Is that what this is really all about? You can tell us.
The rabbi did touch me at 8. Touched me at 8 days old when he had to cut off my foreskin. So
yeah, and then he kissed it, right? That's like part of it.
Yeah, I think they stopped doing that when a couple of babies died because they got like herpes? Or something along that. Are
they still doing it during COVID? I
Yes,
am
I'll tell you about
starving,
that in a
guys.
second. One
No,
second.
don't
One
tell me
second.
about that. Do you,
The Moyles, the way they used to do it is they used to actually bite the foreskin
oh,
off
God.
to start it. No, that's like, look, I'm not a fan of this stuff. And my buddy just had,
This
they just
did
had,
take a serious left turn. Yeah, I do
they
scream
did a
regret, Tom.
they did a live circumcision for my buddy's baby that was last week, and I turned it off right before they snipped him because it's just like, I'm not super religious, all right? I'm Jewish. I was born Jewish.
I asked you to bring a menorah to this.
Manny the menorah is on the window. Manny the menorah is somewhere. I got a new one.
It's Manny. It has a name.
Hi,
That's
guys.
cute.
It's Manny the menorah wishing you a happy Hanukkah. And
Yeah,
don't
I'm
you
sorry, but
forget-
that is 100% Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo, what you were doing right now.
And don't you forget.
Howdy ho.
Hi, guys. It's Manny
Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo.
Let me remind people something. It's Manny the menorah reminding you if you ever go
and
to
now
church,
Manny Ortiz just jumped into chat. See?
don't let the priest touch your wee-wee. And if Manny the Ortiz gets near you, just don't touch his
Manny
beard.
the Ortiz? He's now the Ortiz?
Took him long enough to show up. I love he's like, Manny is right here. Hi.
I'm sweating. Oh God, thank God we
All
stopped talking about touching children. Okay. Can we go
Speaking of
now?
touching children, Dan, when's your son coming over? I'm just kidding. It was a joke.
All right. No,
All
but I'm
right,
really
we're
leaving
out.
before Jared can control this conversation again. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Talk
Man,
to
I
you
love
later.
going live.
Yeah,
love
yeah.
going
Do it
live.
more often. Bye.
I love live.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
We're still live.